is a pleasant day in eight-man football as the competition is ready to heat up here in Smyrna. Lancaster Christian Academy Knights get their first matchup in the eight-man football scene of the Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week. Lancaster Christian Academy Knights against the Ezell-Harding Christian School Eagles on 8-man Extreme. Welcome to everyone watching around the world. I'm Spencer Thompson, joined alongside James Shannon in just a few moments. Glad to be with you here in Smyrna, Tennessee. A lot easier to pronounce than
I'm here.
But the Lancaster Christian Academy Knights undefeated to this point, an impressive record, and they've got challenges up ahead. So this matchup against the Ezell-Harding Eagles could potentially be a measuring stick, but at the same time could be one of the toughest matchups they have of the year. Meanwhile, for the Ezell-Harding Eagles, Coach McGee is out. He's not able to be at the coaching position, so they have their trust in one of their assistant coaches to try and get through to tonight's contest, and especially with two of their star players being out for the game. Ezell-Harding's got a lot that's factoring in to where it's going to be a difficult matchup here in Smyrna. Now, James, for Ezell-Harding, you're out your head coach, you're out two players. We've heard this scenario before with the Cleveland Browns in professional football, and they got to pull it off in the playoffs. Is that potentially the same situation here for the Ezell-Harding Eagles because of the great systems that Dustin McGee has put in place?
Well, Spence, here's the thing. Yes, they're down two of their starters. They still have six other regular starters out there, if not more, out there on the field tonight. And, of course, talking to Coach Thompson, the system that Coach McGee has at Ezell-Harding, it's literally a plug and play. It's so organized. It's so set up already. There's no worries about, okay, well, I mean, obviously you don't want your head coach out.
Right.
But it's not a situation of, what are we going to do? You just roll with it. And they're going to roll in here tonight.
Yeah, mentioned especially for Coach McGee. The final decision was made on that this morning, so a little bit late notice, but it's what they have to roll with.
But they did have a heads up, though. They had an idea that it could happen.
They were aware heading into it. Now, for Lancaster Christian, everyone's healthy for them, and they're undefeated to this point, even when they squeaked past Providence Christian at a 25-20 victory. And it's one of these contests coming up here that Lancaster, they might stay undefeated, but how do they do that at home tonight?
Well, they've only played the two games, and they had the close one, and then they blew out Lighthouse, who has struggled. They're 0-4 on the year. So it's really, there's not much of a sample size to take from them. Of course, we haven't seen them this season. They beat a tough Providence team, but man, I mean, they're just going to have to come out and play their game. I mean, Deuce Bragg is going to be Deuce Bragg, Lane Spurlock, Trey Justice, Devin Hargrove. Those guys are going to have to roll out and do their jobs. And if they do that, they're going to handle business tonight.
Deuce Bragg gets his first game as a junior in prime time. The Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week coming up in just a few moments. Ezell-Harding collides with the Lancaster Christian Academy Knights.
Christian Academy Knights football team, right here in the heart of
2. Check 1, 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand. And gentlemen, remove your caps. At this time, we would like to honor the victims of the tragic events of September 11th, 2001. On this day, 20 years have passed. We choose to remember all those who were victims, and we honor all of the first responders with a moment of silence, which will be followed by a word of prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, our gracious and loving God, we thank you for the gift of life, the gift of freedom that we have in this country, and the gift that we have of sport and football. God, we pray at this time that you will bless our evening, that everything that we do and say would honor you and glorify our God. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Please remain standing as the national anthem will be sung by our 7th and 8th grade choir. We do have a flag on the field.
The Lancaster Christian Academy Knights get their first game in prime time, the only 8-man football contest happening across the region. And Lancaster ready to face off against Ezell-Harding. As mentioned in the open, the Eagles without their head coach Dustin McGee for the evening. And an interesting tidbit for you. Since 2018, when Lancaster Christian Academy joined 8-man football, 19-1 at Smyrna Middle School. Their only loss, Ezell-Harding in 2019.
And Spencer, here's the thing too. Lancaster's never beat Ezell-Harding in 8-man football. They've played 4 times. Ezell-Harding leads the series 3-1, 1-1 in 11-man, 2-0 in 8-man.
Number 3, Jacob Ingram. Number 4.
Does that trend continue this evening here in Smyrna? We're about to find out.
Number 6, Lincoln Miller. Number 7, Andrew Kosinski. Number 8, Devin Hargrove. Number 9, Dizzle Bragg. Number 10, Zach Atkinson.
And of course, Ryan Arrington for Lancaster
Number
Christian.
12, Michael Westmoreland.
He's been the kicker for a while. Had a great season last year, and he's back for more, baby.
Number 15, Eric Macias. Number 17,
Ryan Arrington,
Number 18,
now in his junior year, set to get things started here in Smyrna. And James, hit us with your famous catchphrase.
It's 8-man football time in Tennessee.
And it'll start out with a return by the freshman Elijah Donnell. Gets to the right side and finally brought down at the 25-yard line, essentially a touchback. And that tackle made by Lancaster's defensive front. And we'll see the Ezell-Harding Eagles for the second time in the extreme game of the week this year. Well, at least the hope is for the Eagles that they have a better showing in prime time. Their last contest at home against the Grace Baptist Academy Golden Knights. Not much can be mentioned about that other than Grace Baptist was the winners out of that bout. And Ezell-Harding Eagles trying to get a turnaround here. And it's going to be a tough one on the road with this crowd. But a decent amount of Eagles fans have showed up, and it'll start off with a pitch to the backfield and tripped up. He had an opening. Could have taken a lot more of a carry if he hadn't been tripped. That's Noah Preston to carry for 5 yards.
Spence, that dude had what I call a Mack truck hole. It's a hole big enough to drive a Mack truck through, for those of y'all who didn't follow that. But he had that hole. If it wasn't for that trip, there was literally nothing but white paint and green grass in front of him.
You see those kind of tackles made throughout the season where, at least up to this point, it's kind of touchdown saving tackles, maybe first down saving tackles, kind of things have happened. And it's a credit of a 4-yard carry by Noah Preston. Brings up a 2nd and 6. And it'll just be a keeper for Melvin Cousins, the sophomore, and a Lancaster defensive line, not letting him get any further than about 3 yards.
A little bit of miscommunication on that one, Spence. Melvin thought he was handing it off. No one was there. He had to adapt and roll with it. It didn't work out that well. And so far, this Lancaster defense, 1, 2. Let's see if they get the 3 count. That's a wrestling reference for y'all.
For those who enjoy wrestling, James Shannon has you covered.
I got you.
So 3rd down and 4 coming up for Ezell-Harding. These type of plays are, you see that with Ezell-Harding. They like to rush the ball very frequently. They like to just carry it a few yards at a time. There goes the carry in the backfield, and it's a tackle for a loss. Make that Paul Nix gets brought down. Lancaster defense standing strong, and now a 4th down and likely the punt formation for Ezell-Harding. Lancaster defense forcing them to a 4th and out to start off the night. And it's going to be in the backfield, tries to get the punt away. Fortunate enough for Ryan.
And he got a great bounce on it.
Great bounce for Ryder Carver down to the 42-yard line. And we'll see Deuce Bragg.
Spencer, that was called making chicken pot pie out of chicken crap, okay? That's what that's called.
Well, what more could be said about Deuce Bragg that hasn't already been said? You know, when we first saw him in the extreme game of the week, their debut 8-man football game, he was an 8th grader. Now 1 year separated from his final season in 8-man football. And in his junior year, numbers don't lie, just as spectacular as ever.
Well, and the offense is so tailored to his need, and it has nothing to do with the father-son aspect. They tailored this offense to him and his strengths.
And we'll see the offense not coordinated by Sean Bell, as Deuce Bragg will just go on the run, and he'll get a gain of about 5 yards there. And, you know, their new Jason Bragg is now the offensive coordinator for Lancaster Christian. It was Sean Bell who went on to Lighthouse. So the question now is, can Bragg's offense keep up, or can Bragg coordinating the offense, does it have the same level of intensity as it did with Sean Bell?
I mean, obviously they're 2-0. they rolled over Lighthouse and beat Providence. So, I mean, the proof is in the pudding, Spence.
A gain of 6 yards as they have Albert Clark take the ball, weaving through to avoid 2 tackles. How about a third? Albert Clark trying to weave out the third, and that tackle credited to Jalen Jackson. Is he still on his feet? Jalen Jackson couldn't get it down. Finally takes 2 Ezell-Harding players to bring down Albert Clark, but only at the cost at a first down.
And it took the big boy following the ball and taking him down. Spence, they're not wrapping up. They didn't wrap up on that play at all in any way, shape, or form, and he's bouncing off him like a pinball machine.
The sophomore already. They had a big gap to fill in the backfield with Jordan Horde with him graduating earlier this year. So at least for the time being, looks like Albert Clark may have filled that void.
Well, they've also got Lane Spurlock that they've used in the run game this season, Spence.
As they trust it to Bragg, who faked it to Spurlock, and Deuce Bragg is going to get a first down. Showing his mobility, which we haven't seen as much of that in previous years. So it looks like they changed it up and told Deuce, you have to be a more mobile quarterback.
Well, he has to. I mean, it gives just a totally different look to your offense when your quarterback can become that 8th player. You know, there's quarterbacks that just sit in the pocket, and it becomes a 7-on-8 or an 8-on-7. When your quarterback goes mobile, it's 8-on-8.
As Bragg tries to conduct the orchestra of this Lancaster offense, he's got a 1st and 10 inside the 35. He's got some options. Quick pass over to Spurlock. Lane Spurlock finds the opening, tries to get past the final man, brought down by Ryan Taylor. And a first down. The Knights are now in the red zone.
Good hard run by Spurlock. I mean, what can you say?
That's the number 3 real estate first down.
First and 10. Bragg is looking for the end zone. He's got plenty of time, nothing to worry about. Finally under pressure to the corner, overthrew his intended target. Had 2 receivers in the area for the Knights, and just threw it out to the end zone. The Lancaster offense being cheered on by a very enthusiastic crowd at Smyrna Middle School. On the 2nd and 10. See this many times at the line of scrimmage. Bragg likes to change the plays. As he's going to get a quick toss on the middle. Almost intercepted. That would have been, I believe, Liam Kendall, I believe, who could have gotten that interception. And just goes in between his hands.
Spence, on the play before, I wanted to mention, Deuce Bragg had enough time to scratch off a $30 scratch-off ticket. And for those of y'all who know how long that takes, that's literally the amount of time he had in that backfield. It's very impressive.
Credit to the offensive line trying to do their job, but also Bragg just having field awareness. Right now, he's got 2 incomplete passes. Or 3rd down. This will be a carry for Spurlock. Avoids 2 tackles. Make that 3. And finally, the 4th man to bring him down is Gabe Guzman. Gain of 9 yards. So 4th and 1. Now the question is, do you bring out Arrington for 3 points? Or with it being this close, do you go for a first down? And actually a 4th and 2 is what they'll spot it as. Obviously, they're going to go for it deep in their in Eagles territory. And again, they only have to get about 2 yards here. On a 4th down, they give it to Spurlock again, and he's tripped up. Did they stop him short? I believe they did.
I think they stopped him, Spence.
Waited for the signal from Dozier.
Can we get a replay on it?
As Dozier will indicate it's a turnover on downs. Ezell-Harding with a big stop.
Hey, on those, those, you might want to get a replay. Like if it's third or fourth down.
Good statement for the Ezell-Harding Eagles.
It was close. I'm sorry. It was close. But fantastic job by that defense, Spence.
What a statement by Ezell-Harding on the road, especially with the struggles they've had in the last several games they've played. And we'll see if Ezell-Harding can march it down the field. And they'll start out with ball carried back to the line of scrimmage for no gain.
The amount of momentum Ezell-Harding could have right now, if they were to not even just score, just eat clock and grass. That's all you got to do right now. If they can go down and score, incredible amount of momentum they could pick up.
Plenty of time left to go, but what we've seen from the last several weeks in the games that we've covered, it's very much a controlling the tempo scenario.
It really is, Spencer. At every level, every type of football, you control the tempo, you control the game.
Ezell-Harding trying to do that, especially without their head coach, as they'll hand it off in the backfield, and it's going to be a tackle for a loss. Actually, they call forward progress, I believe.
Lancaster, Spence, is not fooled by this fake jet sweep fullback dive. They're not fooled by it right now, or halfback dive, rather.
And it looks like lucky break for Ezell-Harding as they get it back to the line of scrimmage. So no gain on forward progress. 3rd and 10 coming up for the Eagles. Usually Dust McGee is the offensive coordinator, so Chad Thompson, their defensive coordinator, likely calling the plays here. So interesting to see what they're trying on this offensive scheme. Third and 10. And looks like they're going to try to pass it here. And nope, it's going to be a keeper. Here goes Cousins. And
what a stiff arm by Cousins, Spencer.
Cousins with the stiff arm, not enough to get him the first down, at least a gain of 5 yards.
He literally showed zero concern that other player out there has a family that he has to go home to at the end of the night. He looked like a farmer planting him into the ground. I don't know what kind of crop he's expecting to reap. I don't know, another Knights player or something, but geez.
Results in a gain of 6 for a 4th down and 4. Likely the punt team coming out for the Eagles.
Yeah, but Spence, I think you feel a little bit better after this drive because of the defensive stop. And I know you had the first 2 plays not go your way, but being able to at least move that down marker.
Got some positivity to build off on in their second offensive drive of the game. It looked like it was a deflected punt, and this will go down to the 49-yard line.
I think it's 44, Spence.
44.
Yeah, I don't think they quite got all the way to the 50. So not the best punt in the world, but you did take them from the 20. I mean, you got a 25-yard punt, so you got from the 20 to the 45. I think in any situation you would take that over a blocked punt, a fumbled snap, all the things that can go wrong on special teams.
Time for the second offensive drive for the Lancaster Knights. They start in Eagles territory. As Deuce Bragg has Clark to his left. Quick pass over, Hargrove. Devon Hargrove get a gain of about 6 yards on that reception.
That was a quick wide receiver screen, grab the ball and go. Hargrove, one of those guys. He's been there since the move to 8-man, along with Bragg and Spurlock and I believe Justice. So, you know, he's one of those guys. He's been around the block, and he's looking to make something happen this season.
Gain of 6 for a 2nd and 4. Bragg alone. He's got pressure this time. Look at Gates. It's slung out. And the catch is made by Lancaster's Reese Cloes.
Spence, we do have a flag back here at the 44-yard line, back at the original line of scrimmage, and it might be roughing the passer. Reed Steinley was coming in hot. I believe that's Reed Steinley. Reed Steinley was coming in hot, and we might get a roughing the passer here.
Carson Dozier is our referee. We'll get the call.
Roughing the passer. That penalty be declined. Results of the play is a first down.
Bragg opting not to enforce it there with the great reception by Reese Cloyce, the senior. And for Lancaster Christian, that's a huge gain into the red zone.
Well, and that's Deuce Bragg under pressure. He felt the heat from the defensive lineman and still dropped an FDR dime down the field. Hi, that saying didn't stay in chat, boy.
It's continuing on with us as Albert Clark doesn't get the ball. It's a touchdown. Lancaster Christian scores first, and a fake out with a reception to the right side.
That's a field custom touchdown.
That's Spence. You're going to see on this replay, we got the tail end of it.
Reese Cloyce with the big reception at first, and then gets the touchdown in the close right corner of the end zone.
I know. That's your priority. That's just
James, you want to call this one?
Man, this is one of the reasons Ryan Arrington is one of my favorite 8-man football players. Oh!
James? 6-0. That is the announcer's jinx if I've ever seen one. 6-0, 2:10 left to go.
I didn't say he was going to make it.
6-0 with 2:10 left to go in the first quarter. Arrington boots it away after the successful offensive drive, as this will be picked up for a return and a stop immediately. Elijah Donnell mishandled the ball, and that'll start the Eagles on their own 15-yard line.
Spence, I'm calling it right now. If Lancaster keeps this momentum, and it could be that Ezell-Harding shuts this down right here, right now, and takes over this game. I'm not ruling that out. But if Lancaster keeps this momentum, next Saturday's Lancaster Grace Baptist will be one of the biggest games in 8-man football in many, many years. Biggest non-championship games.
That game on Saturday night, as far as we're the only game going on of the teams in the Southeast that we cover.
We is, Spencer. We is.
But at least for now, Ezell-Harding has got a first and 10 as this is lobbed in the backfield to Paul Nix. And Paul Nix is brought down for a tackle for loss.
That was a textbook tackle by the Lancaster defender. Absolutely just laid him down. You could see the replay here. It was, who was that? 12.
Michael Westmoreland, the
just
junior.
A textbook solid tackle. That's how you teach tackling in football.
And with that, it's a loss of about 5 yards for a 2nd and 15. Second and 15. This will be a carry here. Melvin Cousins again trying to weave out of the defense, but Lancaster just so good at wrapping up and tackling as Westmoreland gets a tackle again.
Melvin Cousins putting the ball in his hands, putting the team on his back, and he's trying to make it happen.
Now a 3rd down and 11.
Here we go, nice. It is 3rd down.
Big 3rd down here, Spence.
As we get a timeout.
Timeout. Ezell.
Ezell-Harding calls a timeout with 9 seconds left to go in the first quarter.
Sponsors.
Ezell-Harding took some time to think it over, had to burn one of their timeouts with 9 seconds left to go in the first quarter. As Cousins, under pressure, scrambles. He's got some space to the left side, getting past Westmoreland. Gets to tiptoe the sideline. He's not ruled out of bounds yet. Finally, a whistle blown down. He's out at the 45-yard line.
I don't know. Let's get a replay. Let's get a replay.
That expires the end of the first quarter, but
hang on.
You need a sideline shot for that. I think there's some right there, yep.
That's a good call, right about the 50.
It's a nice run.
Right about the 50.
They'll actually spot him at the 45-yard line where it goes there. They did call him out, so that will be the end of the first quarter.
And Spencer, to correct myself real quick, we were called out on the chat. 40 awesome people watching. Number 60 is James Hyman, who also has been at with Ezell-Harding since they came in 8-man at 2019 as a sophomore. He's now a senior. Roster sheet's not updated. I just had a brain cramp. So there you go. But James Hyman, a great senior leader for this Ezell-Harding team.
12 minutes gone. The Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week is sponsored by Grace Point Healthcare, modern medicine the old-fashioned way, and by Fairlife Core Power Protein. Work hard, recover harder. Started the second quarter at Smyrna Middle School. Smyrna, Tennessee, a 6-0 lead right now for Lancaster over Ezell-Harding.
Melvin Cousins made it happen on that last play. Let's see if he can just jumpstart this offense.
As they switch sides of the field to the 45-yard line, Cousins hands it off up the middle, and a gain of about 3 yards for Isa Feisha.
Ezell-Harding has yet to be on the opposite side of the 50 other than a punt. Yeah, other than a punt, they have the chance right here. And Lancaster's only beaten them 6-0 already in the second quarter. This game is well within reach for Ezell-Harding. Like you said, Spencer, got to manage the tempo, got to control the tempo.
Plenty of time left in the game to do that as well. It's just what we've seen from the last several weeks for the Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week. It's been very much whoever controls the tempo early on usually wins the game, but Ezell-Harding, they're a rush-heavy team, so they control the timing a lot more than most of the teams we covered thus far. Lob in the backfield to Preston, and stoppage with some flags on the field, I believe, or timeout.
Before the snap, false start, 20 white. Be a 5-yard penalty, replay, second down.
Move it back 5 yards.
That's a little mistake. They stayed away from those mistakes last Thursday night when they played Lighthouse Christian. They did not make those mistakes. Stay away from them tonight, and you'll be okay. But if you start getting in your own head and start committing false starts and
as Cousins handed it off, and a gain of a few yards, a 3rd and 10 coming up.
Looked like it got tripped up by one of his own linemen. What I was saying is if you start committing false starts and offensive penalties like that that are just mental mistakes, if you start letting those accumulate, it's like a snowball. It's just going to roll out of control. So minimize them. They're going to happen. They're going to happen. But you have to keep them at a minimum.
Third down for what?
3rd down and 10 on the 45-yard line. Ezell-Harding offense, they've taken a lot of time off the clock with these rushing plays.
That's what you have to do, Spence, in this game. The less time Deuce Bragg has with the ball, the better for Ezell-Harding.
They're successful with that so far as Cousins tosses it over to Ryan Taylor, but he gets stopped at the line of scrimmage, 4th and 10.
The initial part of that screen was successful. The blocking is where it fell apart.
No gain on the play.
The defensive players were able to hone in on the receiver, and instead of those linemen releasing and going to the next level and taking it on. And they're going to punt it away again, Spence.
Not much they can do. 3rd straight 4th and out, and it looks like another false start.
Before the snap, white 65, false start. That'll be a 5-yard penalty, replay, 4th down.
Dozier is getting some microphone time tonight.
Never a bad thing there, Spence.
And a blocked punt, successfully blocked, and can't pick it up. It's loose again, and it was touched by Lancaster.
It was. That's
so
Ezell-Harding
that's Ezell-Harding's ball. That's Ezell-Harding ball.
It's Ezell-Harding ball, Spence.
No, they're swapping it. It's Lancaster's ball, even with that, as far as I'm aware.
No,
yep.
hang on.
The signal
No.
is for Lancaster. Depending what the official, yep, it's Lancaster ball. That's the signal there, but
I could have guaranteed you Lancaster touched that ball, and ipso facto, Ezell-Harding recovers. They have it.
That's a that's a good question for.
Hang on, Spence. I'm going to rewatch it on our broadcast.
That's a good question for an official. If we had a rules analyst up here, that's a good question of if a blocked punt, if the receiving team touches it after the block, it should be Ezell-Harding's ball. But regardless, Deuce Bragg tosses it, end zone, cuts a tackle to avoid getting short and a touchdown. Caleb Kaczynski for the 6.
Spencer, Ezell-Harding must have not recovered that ball. After the punt.
Well, regardless, another 6 points on the board for Lancaster. A great pass and a great avoidance of a tackle.
Spencer, that ball was touched by Lancaster, recovered by Ezell-Harding. I just watched the Ezell-Harding player give it to Lancaster.
Well, regardless, Arrington going for the PAT. Chance to make it 13-0. Trust him again as it's a mishandled snap, but hits the middle post.
He thought he could.
Yeah, he thought he could return it off of that. 12-0.
awesome.
8:53 left to go in the first half. Lancaster starting to get a good lead.
Go for it.
12-0. As this will be returned by Taylor. Ryan Taylor has got some space. Gets past the tackle, left side. Ryan Taylor trying to get more to the outside. He's brought down by Albert Clark at about the 47-yard line.
That is a great return for Taylor. A great kickoff by Arrington, but a great return for Taylor. Again, Spencer, the game is not out of reach. It's 12-0. It's not an immountable lead.
We got time on the field here. Timeout called by Lancaster Christian.
Timeout. Timeout. Lancaster.
Lancaster will think it over with 8:44 left to go in the first half. Coming up on the Iceberg Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling halftime report. Get you our highlights and analysis of the first half. It's all coming up on the Iceberg Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling halftime report. Spencer Tomset, James Shannon, Audrey Green, our executive director, and Matthew Cruz running the field cam, bringing you the action from Smyrna Middle School in Smyrna, Tennessee. Only game of the teams we cover going on in the 8-man football world tonight. Again, Lancaster coming in today at a 2-0 record. Ezell-Harding have taken some losses throughout the year up to this point. For Ezell-Harding, they are 1-2. Only win coming against Lighthouse Christian School 9 days ago. As the Knights think it over here. Got a chance to regroup, and on a 1st and 10, Cousins is going to be chased down, looking for the pass. Toss to the left side. This is a reception by Kalen Robinson. Gets out. He's still on his feet. Kalen Robinson to the outside. And that's a touchdown for Ezell-Harding.
Why did Lancaster stop on the play?
They may have thought he was out of bounds. As you see the replay here.
Hey, and James Hindman absolutely he needs to get a bottle of syrup when he gets to the sidelines after pancaking the dude.
And Ezell-Harding, that's the spark they needed.
That is 100% that is some smart play calling or decision making by Cousins. No one was open downfield. He had a safety valve. He took his safety valve, and the safety valve took it for 6.
Kalen Robinson, the sophomore, with the touchdown. It's about a 60-yard receiving touchdown. As the 2-point conversion attempt, they try to get Cousins through, and
can we get a replay?
2-point conversion is no good.
Let's get a replay. Let's see if forward progression. Oh, it's close, Spence.
Forward progress ruled that he didn't break the goal line there. 12-6. Ezell-Harding gets their first touchdown of the night with a 60-yard receiving touchdown by Kalen Robinson. And this will just be booted away. Bounces picked up at the 20-yard line. As this return by Chloe's finally gets brought down at about the 23-yard line.
That's great kickoff coverage by Ezell-Harding. Finding the man, honing in on him, and going for it.
Michael Davis got the tackle in there, the freshman.
This might be the furthest back that Lancaster's had to start a drive tonight. Matter of fact, I believe it is.
A little bit of discussion from the officials here. Might be wondering where the spot of the ball is.
We got an official.
What was the number, Zach? During the run, holding, number 1 blue. That'll be a 10-yard penalty. First down.
So there was a penalty on the return there. Didn't see where the flag was. But
I didn't see the flag come in either, but that's something. They can still come in after the fact and call the penalty. So great job there of them not backing down from calling the penalty that they witnessed.
And that was on Albert Clark for the hold. So they'll start at their own 15-yard line. Bragg will hand it off. Spurlock. I believe it's either Spurlock or Hargrove who took the carry for about 3 yards.
Spurlock.
Yep.
That's some good hard running for him to be contacted 2 or 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage and still have a gain of 3 or 4. That's a tough run, but he made it happen.
Lane Spurlock with the carry. Brings up second down and 7.
You mentioned it in our open. Guys like Lane Spurlock and Devin Hargrove are very much centerpieces in the offensive scheme for Lancaster Christian. And they're showing that tonight, but impressed by Caleb Kaczynski, the sophomore, stepping up with the reception as Bragg scrambles, releases it, and swatted out of bounds by Paul Nix.
Bragg might as well have been carrying a Snickers with him or something because Hyman was on a beeline for him. On an absolute beeline for him. And Bragg just barely got that ball away. Before that gets misunderstood, much love for the big guys. I'm going to love on the big guys. Listen, I tell everybody I can't run. If you should see me running, you should start running too.
So brings up a 3rd down and 6 for Deuce Bragg and company. He's got 2 to both sides. Bragg looking. He's going to toss left side. I heard that the ball was hit as it was coming back out of the line of scrimmage.
Can we get a replay?
As the incomplete pass there. Can maybe see it tipped.
Got tipped.
Just barely.
Yeah.
Just barely, because you could hear it being tipped with the incomplete pass intended for Chloe's.
That defense, that touchdown. Spence, last night we talked about a spark and a can't. We got a full-on redneck, hillbilly, middle of the country bonfire kind of a spark for Ezell-Harding right now.
Didn't see the bonfire for Christian Community last night.
This is the kind of bonfire that they write country songs about.
Christian Community tried to get some sort of bonfire last night. He couldn't get it done against the Golden Eagles.
I'm sorry.
Looks like Ezell-Harding is potentially going to get it done as it goes to the 43-yard line. As you mentioned, good bounce.
That's a good bounce, but it's still not, and it does push Ezell-Harding back, but it's not a field flipper. I mean, they're literally 6 yards away from midfield. So, and in high school, if you're punting from the 15, you can't expect the punt to go down to the 15. This isn't the Titans game. That's tomorrow. But it's not a terrible kick, and he got a really good bounce on it.
Lancaster defense has held the Eagles to only 6 points on what's going into their 4th offensive possession of the game.
Spence, Ezell-Harding's held Lancaster only 12.
12 and about 4 or 5 offensive drives.
Well, three offensive drives, Spence.
3 for both heading into the 4th. Here's an opening, finds the space, and if he could get past the last man, he can, but what a big gain there from Isaiah Faisha.
Faisha hit those jet afterburners. He had a Mack truck hole, and he was gone. And a great job by the Lancaster defender, dragging him down from behind, making that open field tackle. If not, we got a tie ball game here, Spence.
Timeout. Lancaster. That'll be their second charge. Timeout.
Make that only one timeout left for Lancaster Christian with 6:59 left to go in the second quarter. A big gain for Ezell-Harding. Lancaster got a chance to think it over. They've got one timeout remaining in the first half. Here's a 1st and 10. Cousins will hand it off to Ryan Taylor as he gets a gain of about 3 to 4 yards.
See, and momentum-changing plays, Spence, like the touchdown, like that run by Faisha. Those draw plays that earlier in the game weren't working, all of a sudden, the offensive line gets a little confidence, and those run plays that were getting negative 2 or 3 yards, they start to give positive 2 or 3 yards. And the big boys up front start going, hey, we can push these guys around. There's only a couple guys on Lancaster that have the size that Ezell-Harding line has.
Only so much they can do with what they have to work with. A 3-yard gain for the Eagles as they are inside of the red zone. Cousins under center. He's going to look for the pass. Scrambling under pressure. Got some space. He's going to run it. Gets the first down and staying on his feet a little bit more. Trying to get to the end zone. And he steps out of bounds. There is a flag for likely a late hit there. And
it's either going to be late hit or leading with the helmet, Spence.
It's one of those two. And doesn't give him much yardage with it being half the distance to the goal line.
That almost looked like it was like at the 1-2 yard line. The guys were in the way, so couldn't exactly see, but here's the call.
At the end of the run, personal foul, late hit out of bounds, number 13 blue, half the distance, first down.
As they'll call that one on Elijah Moore, the senior.
That's a tough break. That's a tough break. Good to see Moore back. Made a big difference last year? No, 2 years ago. Good to see him back. And a good hard run. Great decision making by Cousins.
Under 6 minutes left to go in the second quarter as Ezell-Harding has a 1st and goal, chance for them to tie up the game. And with motion, Cousins is going to sneak it up the middle, trying to push the scrum, and he will be stopped short of the goal line, about to the half-yard line.
Man, he was close. He was close. If he had a couple yards head start, he could have Superman that thing into there.
Gain of a yard. Second down and goal from the 1.
Spence, at 12-0, I guarantee you a lot of people would have written off Ezell-Harding. Now we're half a yard from 12-12.
Especially with the struggles Ezell-Harding had against Grace Baptist and the loss to Franklin Christian. They bounced back and found their rhythm after their contest against
Listen,
Lighthouse Christian School.
the statement I made earlier about Lancaster Grace being a massive game, it may still be a massive game, but they didn't keep that momentum.
2nd and goal. As another attempt up the middle, waiting for the signal.
He got it.
Touchdown. Ezell-Harding ties it up.
That was a smart run by Cousins. Came inside, up the middle a little bit, bounced outside, and just got the ball across the plane and punched it in.
And now it is a chance for Ezell-Harding to take the lead after being down 12-0. Still plenty of time left in the competition, but for the Eagles, especially for them to take the lead, is like we mentioned, only team to have beaten Lancaster Christian here at home in their 8-man football tenure is the team that they're facing tonight. The 2-point conversion attempt. Cousins will lob it in the backfield. Right side. Does he have a blocker? He's got a few trying to push through and will be stopped short. Not enough room for Kalen Robinson to punch it in. Tied at 12. Ezell-Harding has tied it up here in Smyrna. Good game so far with tie at 12. Thankful for all 45 of you joining us here on YouTube.
Spencer, on Saturday night, the quality of game this is, that ought to be like 148.
Glad you're choosing college football over us if there are any college games going on across the nation. None of note, at least, as Reese Clois is going to take the return.
What a hit.
And a big hit as he gets a gain of about maybe 10-yard return.
And it's a good return. Great field position for Lancaster. They're up, on the other side of the 30. Now you've got under 70 yards to go to take the lead, and that's what they need. They need a big drive here, Spence. The momentum they had at 12-0, it done packed up and took a road trip. Up the road to Ezell-Harding and then came right back and got it with Ezell-Harding.
I'm sure Coach McGee is liking what he's seeing right now.
Oh, he's got to love it.
His team keeping it competitive late in the first half. As Bragg alone in the shotgun has got pressure, trying to get past the man, slings it to the left side, and what a reception made there by Hargrove. Gets a gain for a first down right at midfield.
Bragg and Hargrove, Bragg and Spurlock, those guys read each other like a book. And when Bragg gets in trouble, those two already know what to do. Get open. It's simple.
Simple offensive schemes for Lancaster Christian, but the dynamics of it have been matched by the Ezell-Harding defense. Hold them to 12. Here's Clark. Can't weave out of that wrap-up and tackle. It's brought down by Gabe Guzman.
Nice 5-yard gain.
The defense starting to get a little bit of confidence in themselves. They're saying, look, we can bring these guys down. Wrap them up. That's all you got to do. You wrap them up, and a couple of those runs in the first quarter don't happen.
That run by Clark brings it up to a 2nd and 5. Again, keep in mind Lancaster has one timeout to work with, and a quick toss over to Hargrove. That quick pass gets it back to a gain of 1 yard.
The defensive coverage on that play, they literally swarmed to the football. It was not a jog over there. They were on the ball carrier. This is a big third down, Spence.
What was a 2nd and 6 is now a 3rd down and 5. This Lancaster offense trying to find some answers how to get the better of Ezell-Harding here. Third and 5. Bragg alone. Pressure again. Slings it to the right side. And incomplete. Could have had the catch. It was in the hands of Hargrove.
Well, you got to think the defensive player that touched it, you got to think he maybe changed the trajectory, the spin, something to where when that receiver went to go catch the ball, something was off about it and he wasn't able to haul it in. And if you're Lancaster here, you got to go for it. You don't punt the ball from right here. You go for it.
They're keeping Bragg alone in the backfield.
I mean, unless this is a Tom Brady quick kick, I don't see that happening though.
You don't see that often in 8-man football. 4th and 5. Bragg needs to gain 5 yards. He's got a lot of pressure. There's a flag down. Believe holding possibly as Bragg slings it to the outside. The catch. What a catch out of bounds, but I think this is coming back.
And let's recognize that catch because that was massive.
But I think this is coming back. Waiting on Dozier, but you see him tiptoes.
Oh, my gosh. Looked like Juju Smith-Schuster out there.
Holding, number 10 blue. That'll be a 10-yard penalty from the spot. Replay, 4th down.
That's a
Atkinson with the, sorry James, but Atkinson credited for the hold there. The sophomore cost a incredible Juju complex catch.
That was, man, that's a tough break for Lancaster. That's a tough break. That defense, though, that defense had dug in, that defensive line. Hyman and the other guy, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on his name. They were coming in hot. Deuce had to roll over, and the way that the other guy was coming in, you had to hold him to keep him from absolutely destroying Deuce.
So what was a 4th and 5 is now a 4th down and 15, and I believe another false start.
Nope, timeout.
Timeout, Ezell. That's their 2nd timeout of the half.
Both teams now have 1 timeout left. 2:10 left to go in the first half. Fourth down and 15 as Bragg slings it to the right side, overthrew his target, and a turnover on downs.
Spence, Ezell-Harding could have picked up the flag right there at the end of the play for a late hit. That was, I'm guessing, I'm stuttering. I'm guessing it was a bang-bang play, and maybe they didn't see it that way. I'm just saying they could have picked up an unnecessary roughness there.
Is possible, but at least for now, it's a turnover on downs forced by Ezell-Harding's defense. And now they've got a 1st and 10 in Knights territory on the 47. Cousins looking. He's going to air it out to the right side and incomplete. That's a pass
there it
interference.
goes.
Josh Murdich.
Can we get a replay? Can we get a replay on that?
Josh Murdich, the intended receiver. As
Let's see if we can get the end of it. Let's get the replay. Did we get the end of it? No, we got the celebration. I would have been interested to see that.
here's Dozier.
Interference. Number 1, blue on the defense. That's a spot foul. That'll be 10 yards from the previous spot. The result of a play will be a first down.
Lancaster Nation not liking that one. It looked like in that case there had to be some call on that.
Well, they didn't put it at the spot of the foul. They moved it. They just gave him yardage.
10 yards.
That's a break for Lancaster.
10 yards for the previous spot as a scramble. Cousins looking, avoids a tackle, avoiding several, and finally brought down after a gain of about 5 or 6 yards. I tell you, the sophomore quarterback is really impressive.
He is absolutely making plays tonight. He does need to get that ball a little bit closer to him. He's holding the ball out just a hair too far for my liking.
As Cousins looks again, quick toss, incomplete. Not sure who he was trying to target there.
We'll stop the clock.
And Ezell-Harding does have one timeout to work with as they bring up a 3rd and 5.
Spencer Lancaster with a stop here. They do get the ball after halftime. So a stop here, they can go into halftime, go into the locker room at halftime, go look. Reset, 0-0. Let's get the ball. Let's dominate this second half. What a first half, Spence.
Yeah, Lancaster deferred they won the coin toss and deferred the choice to the second half. And they changed the game clock at Stadium to 1 minute, 20 seconds. Was it 1:11? 3rd and 5. Cousins under pressure. Got a blocker. He's looking, and he's forced out, just walks out of bounds there at about the 32-yard line.
Smart decision. If you're Ezell-Harding, though, your punter has not been absolutely bombing it down the field. You got to consider punting it here. You really do.
Just got word. We just got a hot, fresh, smoking, piping hot shipment of Chick-fil-A sandwiches just touched down at the
4th and 6. 4th and 6 here.
I mean, they're going to go for it.
So you might want to go ahead and start.
But, man, a punt right here could really pin Ezell-Harding back, especially if the punt coverage team is able to get down there and down the ball. I think right now, Spencer, if you're Cousins and Ezell-Harding, you're airing the ball out and you're trying to grab a PI.
4th and 6, Cousins under a lot of pressure, trying to get past the man, and he's finally out of bounds. Maybe gets a yard or two gain there, but Lancaster forces a turnover.
Great job by that Lancaster defense after taking the PI call to bounce back and rebound and shut them down 1, 2, 3, 4. Get the ball back. Now, if you're Lancaster, you score going to halftime, and you get the ball back. You could really, really put the game away.
We've seen Deuce Bragg march it down the field in as little as one play or get it all the way into the end zone from these situations before. He's got a lot of time.
Ezell-Harding playing a prevent.
As tossed to the left side. Was that a catch?
Nope.
Incomplete. Looked like
Can
it
we
was
get a
on the
replay?
ground, Hargrove.
Let's see.
I don't know if you could tell from this angle, at least from what it looked like, it may have hit the ground before it was controlled. I think it hit the ground first.
That's close. That's really smart, Spencer, of Ezell-Harding to just play a prevent. Drop 6 back into coverage and don't even rush your linemen. Just let them guard 5 yards away from the line of scrimmage. And great job by the Lancaster offensive lineman to not pick a ineligible receiver downfield.
As again, no pressure on Bragg. They sling it to the left side, and that catch is made by Hargrove, who gets past the tackle, finally wrapped up for the second one and brought down to the 45-yard line.
Lancaster's got to hurry. They have no timeouts.
The green real estate first down.
And remember, they do stop the clock.
Ezell-Harding has too many men on the field, Spence. No, they don't. My bad. My fault.
They got 8 players. And again, the clock does stop whenever it's a first down in high school. So it got a little bit of relief and slung, and a catch made by Reese Cloese for the touchdown.
If you're Ezell-Harding, you just dropped in the prevent, and then you give up 2 30-yard passes and 6 points. Pressure's back on Ezell-Harding, Spence.
22 seconds remain in the first half. They do have one timeout they could work with. And a timeout called.
Timeout. Lancaster. That'll be their last timeout of the half.
So they did have a timeout on that drive. They were trying not to burn it. This may be them just resetting for the extra point and making sure they get this. Because if not, all the pressure, I mean, obviously there's pressure on Ezell-Harding to score, but the pressure of getting the 2-point conversion is taken completely off of Ezell-Harding.
Only 22 seconds left in the first half. 2-point conversion attempt coming up. Again, keep in mind, Ezell-Harding does have a timeout to work with when they get the ball back. Don't be surprised if you see a squib kick from Lancaster to shave down some time on the clock. And we've seen some hurry-up offensive schemes from Coach McGee and the Ezell-Harding offense in the past. Just a question of if they will execute that tonight. Toss left side, 2-point conversion is good. Reception there by Spurlock.
Great throw, great catch.
2-point.
Excellent execution.
Make that now 20-12. 22 seconds remaining in the first half.
Oh, it's
22 seconds remain in the first half. As whistle blown here, like a little bit of early movement by Lancaster's kicking unit. As they'll send this one deep. And we'll have a return attempt by Ryan Taylor. He's got some space to the left side. Avoided the tackle there, but couldn't keep his balance to stay in bounds. Stopped short of the 25-yard line. So 15 seconds for Ezell-Harding to work with, and a timeout.
That's still a really good return for Ezell-Harding.
About the equivalent of a touchback.
More or less. More or less. Yeah, if you're
Touchback and 10 yards.
If you're Ezell-Harding right now, you're airing the football out. No question about it. You're slanging this thing down the field, and you're either trying to get a PI or you're getting a massive catch.
$15 seconds remain. And a deep toss across the middle, and what a catch! Reception pulled in by Murdich, and
they've got to stop the clock to reset the chains.
I believe they did call a timeout. They do stop it to reset the chains, but Ezell-Harding used its last timeout at 6 seconds.
What a connection.
Wow.
Did we get a replay?
Yep, it's showing. You just saw it there.
Oh, my goodness. Good night in the morning.
The junior gets the reception there, and a timeout called by.
If you're Ezell-Harding, you really only have one shot here. And it's got to be at the end zone. If you're Lancaster, you're dropping 8 players into that end zone.
Just no pressure on the line for anybody there. Just probably crowd in the end zone. Might be a Hail Mary situation.
We got 6 seconds left. You got to stand up, defense. Time to get behind him, Knights Nation.
The fight from Ezell-Harding just warms the soul like a slice of good apple pie.
That sounds good right about now.
It really does.
Yeah.
I love apple pie, too.
I haven't had a slice of apple pie in a while.
The apple pie bang?
Oh, there he is again.
No, they don't
with the
have
banging.
apple pie. They have candy apple. That's right. They have key lime pie. All right, the line is out there waiting on you. Your skill players
Key lime pie sounds
are getting
good.
a game plan together. Yeah. If you're Ezell-Harding, you're sending 4 to the end zone. If you're Lancaster, you're sending 8 to the end zone.
What could be the last play of the first half. As they'll do a double reversal, looking for a chance, and it's going to be a carry by Elijah Donnell, and that's going to end.
There's a flag.
There is a flag down. There is a flag, so possibly the end of the first half.
Now, it may be on Ezell-Harding because Ezell-Harding's heading off the field.
Nope, they held the ball up. It's the end of the first half.
All right, that is a heck of a first half for both these ball teams.
What a close matchup. 20-12. The Lancaster Christian Academy Knights have the lead 20-12. The Iceberg Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling halftime report is coming up. Welcome to the Iceberg Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling halftime report. I'm Spencer Thompson. That's James Shannon. And right now, 20-12. It's good to have a close game every once in a while, and they have a good matchup that's not one side. I mean, we had about week 1 or week 2, it looked like it was closer in some of the matchups in the first half, but close at halftime right now here for Ezell-Harding. And what, as you mentioned on air, what a fight to see from the Eagles, and what charisma isn't the right word. What gusto from the Eagles to have their fight here tonight, especially with their head coach and 2 of their starters out.
That's a pretty solid word. It's really nice to not have a 2-hour game. And it's really nice to see the fight that really both these teams are putting up, because Lancaster Christian, after Ezell-Harding tied it, they could have just played preschool and laid down. But they didn't. They fought back. They scored. Ezell-Harding fought back. It didn't work out for them, but hey, listen. It's been a good first half of football. If you're both coaches, really, you're super happy with the overall performance of your teams.
And especially for Ezell-Harding to only be down by 8 at this point when they've been blown out in 2 of their 3 games that they played this season. But for Lancaster, you know, they're up by 8 right now. What is it they have to do to just correct those little mistakes? Because there are a few times where Ezell-Harding had breaks on penalties and there are a few drop catches and such. What is it that Bragg is telling his guys in the locker room right now?
I think it's you literally learned you cannot take Ezell-Harding for granted. Everyone thinks, okay, well, they beat, you know, Ezell-Harding beat Lighthouse, Lancaster beat Lighthouse, okay, but Ezell-Harding also has 2 losses. I think they took them a little too lightly. And then they came out and they took a 12-0 lead and they said, all right, we got this. And Melvin Cousins said, no, you don't, buddy, and absolutely took off with his ball team.
Absolutely did. And we've got about 13 minutes until we get into the second half. Thank you for watching the Geisberg Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Halftime Report. We'll be back in about 13 minutes. Thank you again for watching the Iceberg Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Halftime Report. Started the second half in Smyrna. Close game between the Eagles and the Knights, and it starts out with an onside
Ezell-Harding
kick
got the
recovery.
football. I'm
Oh,
sorry, Spence.
Ezell-Harding on an onside kick that got past the man, as you see on the replay here.
Perfect kick, Spencer. He put it right where it was going to be a tough recovery. And Ezell-Harding's got the ball, honestly, with pretty good possession down inside the 45.
Field positioning pretty good for the Eagles to start out the second half. And 1st and 10 on the 47-yard line for the Eagles. First offensive play of the second half is a gain of about 6 or 7 yards. Impressive rush by Noah Preston.
That is a tough run by Preston. I mean, that was put your head down, put your shoulders down, and pick up that 6 or 7 yards. That was a tough run. Lancaster, at this point, you have to manage yourself because you were expecting to come out of halftime. You got all warmed up to go on offense, and all of a sudden you got hit with the onside. And now your defense does not, your offense does not have the ball. You've got to manage it. I know some of the guys playing offense play defense as well. Of course, you know, Deuce isn't going to be on the field.
You can see him standing on the sideline talking it over with his offensive lineman right now. Gain of about 6 yards for a 2nd and 4, maybe about a 2nd and 5. And with motion, there's movement prior to, flags fly. We'll hear from Dozier once again.
Before the snap, delay a game on the offense. That'll be a 5-yard penalty, replay, 2nd down.
Didn't get it snapped off in time.
Trying to get the play call in, and you've got to get that call in, get everybody set, Spence. You cannot afford to lose any of the momentum that you have right now, because the momentum is in Ezell-Harding's favor.
Just remember, Ezell-Harding got a few lucky breaks on penalties in the first half as well. And for Lancaster, they at least have a break here for going down to his 2nd and 8. And the clock's still running. Ezell-Harding controlling the tempo like they want to as Cousins tries to weave through the defense. And gaining of about 5 or 6 yards for a 3rd down and 3 coming up.
That's honestly what they've done really well tonight. That honestly, a lot of teams that have played Lancaster have not done. They haven't controlled the tempo, and Ezell-Harding, they're going to hold the ball for as long as they possibly can and keep this Lancaster offense off the field because, hey, they've scored on 3 out of 4 drives in that first half.
It's actually a gain of maybe 4 yards there, a 3rd and 4 coming up for the Eagles. As this Lancaster defense trying to stand strong and keep their lead to 8 points. Try to put it back in the hands of their offense. As Cousins handed off this one over to Paul Nix, who's got some space, the 1st down. Yards after contact, about 4 to 5, and gets inside of the 35-yard line.
Put Melvin Cousins on America's Top Magicians, because that was just a work of art on the play, on the fake handoff, then giving it inside, and the way he worked it around. Great job.
Cousins with the handoff to Paul Nix, the senior who's trying to get the Eagles back to the state championship. First time since 2019.
Let's get loud, Knights Nation!
First and 10. Toss by Cousins to the left side and in. What a catch!
No, he got it!
My goodness!
He caught it!
What a catch! Here's the replay for you, James. Give it to Kalen Robinson.
Oh, my goodness.
in that tight of coverage with this Lancaster defense, impressive.
And he's a sophomore. Oh, you got nothing but good things coming up.
Yeah.
Cousins is a sophomore, I believe.
Melvin Cousins, sophomore.
Oh, future's looking good.
Phasia is a sophomore.
Everyone wondered how they were going to replace guys like Braxton Coleman,
Alex Valbuena,
Derek Griffith, Jamari Liddell. You got your answer right here, folks.
And here's motion. Cousins will hand it off. And up the middle to the goal line. Touchdown.
That Ezell-Harding crowd has come to life on the other bleachers. Here you go.
Isaiah Phasia with the 6 points and a chance to tie it up here in Smyrna.
That's actually a really great turnout for Ezell-Harding. I know in terms of the bleachers, it doesn't look like they're full. These bleachers over here aren't full. But you take this crowd right here to Christian Community or anywhere with small bleachers, they're going to pack it out.
Not a far drive for Ezell-Harding to go down either.
No, not at all. And it's Saturday night. I told you earlier, Spence, when Lancaster scored that touchdown with about like 15 seconds left, or whatever the timing was that they scored that last touchdown, maybe a minute.
Timeout. Ezell. That's their first charge timeout of this half.
Getting that 2-point conversion was massive because the pressure, there is an immense amount of pressure right now on Ezell-Harding to tie this game.
Perfect time to remind you that the Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week is sponsored by First Horizon, all things financial, and by Crutcher's Auto Repair, trusted by Franklin, Tennessee since 1980. .8:12 left to go in the third quarter. 2-point conversion attempt. Cousins, a little bit of a stiff arm trying to get to the goal line, and he will be stopped.
That Lancaster defense absolutely swallowed up Cousins. He tried to bounce to the outside and then come back inside. That defense read it the whole way. That is a huge defensive stop for Lancaster, even if it's on a 2-point conversion. If you're Ezell-Harding, I think you got to come back out and onside it again. I think you strike while the iron's hot.
Very possible. We've seen that kind of thing happen before with just onside kicks back and forth. So not out of the question. And you have to think about the 2-point conversions that haven't been made earlier in the game by both sides. You have to think about how those have added up to this point.
Oh, 100%.
I believe Ezell-Harding has not made a single 2-point conversion in the game, so they would be up 24-20 right now, as Lancaster will try to get the short kickoff return here. Maybe they extend it a little bit more as Michael Westmoreland gets the return, gets past the last man, and finally brought down with Phasia and company down to about the 20-yard line. A great return for the Knights, as you see here.
Well, and Spence said wasn't the last man, but a great job slowing him down enough to where Phasia could catch him and drag him down. They tried the little pooch kick, and it backfired on him a little bit. Great field position for Lancaster.
Lancaster Christian with a great kickoff return. And now in the red zone, try and increase their lead to 8 points. They got Clark in motion. And Fay gets over to Bragg. Tries to get up the middle. Bragg scrambling. Does a pancake collision there. And down to about the 5-yard line. A first down and a 15-yard rush by Bragg.
That is a gutsy run by Bragg. That's him proving, hey, I'm not just the guy who's going to sit back and sling it all over the field. I'm going to put my head down, tuck that football, and smack you in your mouth.
Brings up a 1st and goal for Lancaster. This Lancaster offense continues to be impressive here in Smyrna. Bragg. Looking to the right, he's going to take it towards the end zone, maybe to the corner, collision there, and down to the goal line, touchdown. Bragg got it.
That's a great play call for Lancaster. All the offense and defense on the left side except for the one-on-one matchup on the far side. Bragg's able to roll over, and the defenders are trying to chase him. All he has to do is try to get that to that pylon, and he does.
Now, one official did say touchdown, actually. And I believe they brought it back. It was short.
Touchdown.
Nope, they called it touchdown.
Yep, touchdown on the scoreboard. The down indicator had looked like it said 2nd and goal at that point, but yep, touchdown's good. Chance to make it a 10-point game. Bragg, sling, easy catch in the middle of the end zone by Hargrove.
Lancaster's taking control again, Spence.
10-point game here in Smyrna. .7:13 remains in the 3rd quarter. As it'll be booted away, and another return here attempted by Robinson. Don't know if he's going to get past the last man. Got past one tackle. Can't get past the 3rd man. And brought down at about the 16-yard line.
YouTube viewers doing work tonight. We did find out it is Kai, like Sky, Kylon Robinson.
Kylon Robinson.
Yep.
Perfect. Appreciate all 55 of you watching wherever you are around the world. Tuned in for a good broadcast, especially with this being the only game occurring in 8-man football right now. James gets to relax. No scoring updates tonight.
That's actually kind of nice. All right, Ezell-Harding. Let's see how you answer.
Got a long way to march down the field. They're down by 10. And it'll start off with a sack in the backfield. Several Lancaster players brought down.
Cousins didn't have time to get his Thanksgiving plate to the table before he got taken down.
Elijah Moore with the excellent defensive play.
Can't believe we're about only 2 months away from Thanksgiving. Now you got me.
I'm looking forward to it.
You got me thinking about sweet potato casserole now.
You're disgusting. You're disgusting. Truly. Like.
And the mac and cheese.
Okay. You're getting warmer.
Honey baked ham. We
usually Who eats ham at Thanksgiving? Ham is Christmas.
We have both a turkey and ham.
Oh, you bougie. I forgot.
That's not bougie.
It's very bougie.
That's just keeping your options open.
It's very bougie. You eat turkey at Thanksgiving, ham at Christmas, Spence. And you grill out on 4th of July.
Turkey's too dry for my liking, as a 2nd and 13. Cousins coordinating it is going to air it out to the right side, just over the hands of his intended target at Donnell.
You've had some terrible turkey, Spence. Good turkey is not super dry. Hey, Cousins making the most out of that play. Just out of the reach of his receiver, but that was a great throw in terms of leading his receiver away from the defender.
You know what time it is, Nice Nation. It's
About a 3rd down and 13. Gotta love the environment here at Lancaster Christian.
That's all right.
Fan base holding up defense signs. Have drumsticks with some buckets. They show out here at Smyrna Middle. 3rd and 13. And timeout called.
They were trying to get him to jump.
Timeout. Ezell-Harding. That's his 2nd timeout of the half.
Trying to get him to jump, and they didn't get him. Well, Spence, I mean, we've had a fantastic game here tonight. There were a whole lot of games last night, a lot of blowouts. You had the Tennessee School for the Deaf playing on Thursday. Spencer, there's only one place where you can get coverage of 17 8-man football teams. Excellent coverage, premier coverage, the best out there. Where do you get it? What time?
Extreme Talk tomorrow, 4 o'clock Central. We'll get you a recap of all the action around this weekend. We'll probably have a coach on the show. We'll resume that this week. And we'll preview for week 6 of the 8-man football season. We're already about halfway through.
Stephen A. Shannon.
Oh, yeah, and Stephen A.
Will
Shannon
return.
with his hot takes, yep. As Ezell-Harding takes some time to think it over on a 3rd down and 13. Cousins got some options. Deep toss to the right side. Just in between the hands. Looked like it could have been a reception by Murdich. Incomplete.
That was close. That was close.
You see it here. You just missed it, James.
I caught the tail end of it.
You saw it there. He had it in between his hands. Not much he could do.
Ezell-Harding going to punt the ball away here. Unless they go for a fake. Watch the fake. But I think you punt the ball here on 4th and 13.
Only 4-13. It's blocked again. And fallen on at about the 30-yard line by Elijah Donnell. Takes down to about 5:53 in the 3rd. Lancaster with great field advantage again and a chance for them to get a solid lead. Wade Bragg is pointing that way. Are the referees ruling it's Ezell-Harding's ball?
You cannot make the ruling you made earlier in the game and then do it different here. I mean, you can. It's, in my opinion, getting the call correct.
Well, at least Dozier is talking it over. Seen a thing or two. Probably get the announcement from him in a moment. It's Lancaster's ball. Good work to discuss it.
Well, and if you can't give them anything else, give them consistency. They made the same call twice in the game. They got together to discuss it. Got to give them that.
Here's Dozier with the official call.
There was a question if the ball was touched after the block. It was not, so it'll be Blues ball, 1st and 10.
Good clarification by Dozier.
Call.
As the keeper by Bragg gets up the middle, gain of about 6 yards. Or actually make that about 7-8 yards on the carry. I tell you, Bragg is just as good in the air as he is on the ground.
Bragg tucked that ball in. He said, "You are not ripping this football away right now."
We saw a strip last night by the Grace Baptist defense on Christian Community. Very rare you see that at the 8-man football level.
With the way Lancaster's struggling here, Spencer, next week will be very interesting.
Having a tough matchup against Ezell-Harding. See how they play against Grace Baptist. As it's slung to the right side and a diving catch made for the touchdown. The reception by Lancaster's Ryan Arrington.
They put on one-on-one, and the defender lost him. They better be careful throwing the ball to my boy Arrington. He's got to go out there and kick that extra point. You better not mess his leg up.
Looks like he dove forward and not leg first, so should be fine.
You still hit the ground with your leg, Spence, and mess your leg up.
That's at least 34-18.
How about dude's got to catch the touchdown pass, run back to the sideline, get his kickoff tee, and then run back onto the field.
Has not made an extra point tonight. See if that trend continues. Through the uprights and perfect. 35-18.
Call him Milwaukee. He drilled it.
.505 remains in the third.
Still a lot of time in this ballgame, Spence.
Plenty of time left for Ezell-Harding to shake things up, as this will bounce past, and it'll be muffed, or actually mishandled, and unfortunate return of events there as it stopped at the 14-yard line.
Just could not get a handle on it. So Arrington catches the touchdown, runs back to the sideline, gets his kicking block, runs out there, absolutely just drills the extra point, goes back, kicks off a 60-yard kickoff. Man doing work.
Turn it up for good reason. Turn it up for good reason, and I say turn it down for what?
So now Ezell-Harding has a new set of downs. They start in their own 15-yard line. It's about where they were on their last offensive drive, where they got forced to a 4th and out. See if this Ezell-Harding offense can do anything about it. This is lobbed in the backfield. It's carry here by Preston. Noah Preston staying on his feet and diving down to get a gain of 7 yards.
Great job. That's a gutsy run right there.
Now 2nd down and 3. You can hear the cowbells, the regular bells going off here on our side of the bleachers, and here's a carry, and it's an immediate stop. Ryan Taylor tried to go up the middle, and he was stopped on the defensive front by who else other than Lane Spurlock?
That's Lane Spurlock going, no, not today, sir. I say nay, nay.
And he actually got positive yardage on there, it looks like. So it's a 3rd down and inches.
They might have stopped him for progress.
Let's make it actually a 3rd down and 1 with the forward progress. As Ezell-Harding has a big hill to climb as this rushes up the middle, a 1st down for the Eagles.
That's a big body.
Move the chains. That's what you got to do at this point if you're Ezell-Harding. You got a lot of football. You got 15 and a half minutes of football to play.
from the 28-yard line. The ball loose and picked up by Lancaster. Not the situation they wanted as Elijah Moore comes up with it.
I mean, it was, it's Christmas in September, Spence. That ball landed in the bread basket of Moore.
Guzman had it forced out of his grip. Now Lancaster on the 20-yard line, they have a chance to potentially put this game away. Still about 15 minutes left in the game, but
Spence, Lancaster's got that momentum back. Next Saturday's interesting again.
like you mentioned, controlling the tempo. As Bragg, quick toss to Spurlock, as Spurlock tries to get to the end zone, and he'll be short at about the, they rule it a touchdown.
They give it to him. Let's see. Spin. Oh,
I think it's short.
That's close. That is close.
Yeah, I think it's short. It's short there, at least from this angle. But you don't have a sideline shot going down the goal line. A little bit too far from the press box for our studio reach. Regardless, 41-18, chance to make it 42.
Can I do it?
Go ahead.
Snap, set, kick, blocked.
And they can't return it in high school football. 41-18. The Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week is sponsored by Kingdom.com, the ministry technology provider. Crumble cookies, enjoy to every last crumb. And by Iceberg Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, services for every season. .245 remaining in the third quarter, and this game's starting to get out of hand unless Ezell-Harding can score in this next drive, as this will be returned by Kylan Robinson. Kylan avoids a tackle, second one finally forced down at the 30-yard line. Decent return for the sophomore.
I mean, you got pretty good field position right now for if you're Ezell-Harding. If you're Ezell-Harding, either you let Cousins start using his legs or you start airing that football out. Game's not, it's, what's that, 21 points, so it's 3 touchdowns. 3 touchdowns and at minimum 2 extra points, 2 two-point conversions. Now, they could go get 3 extra point conversions. They could score 24 and go up. Trying to do math.
That homeschool education, right?
Oh,
as
okay.
first and 10,
All right.
tossed by Cousins, looking for the receiver, came back to the ball. Was he in bounds? Yes. Reception at about the 50-yard line, I believe, for Ryan Taylor. Ryan Taylor.
Great catch. Did we get the replay? No. Great catch. Making sure he got the ball and then just tapped right inside.
Good catch by Josh Murdoch on the sideline.
They're calling it Murdoch, Spencer, on the catch.
Yeah, Murdoch with the catch. It's a first and 10 for the Eagles. As the rush, good effort there to get about a gain of 4 yards for Robinson.
It's a good, tough run. That's a good, tough run. Clock is still running, though. You still got to make something happen.
Gain of about 3 yards for a 2nd and 7. As Cousins is under pressure from Spurlock. Almost lost the football there as Cousins cuts, avoids several tackles, and finally makes something of nothing to bring up a 3rd and 3.
He was just moving and grooving, trying to get as close to that first down marker as he could. He's looking downfield, great coverage by the Lancaster defense, made him tuck it and run.
Time expiring here in the 3rd. It's again Ezell-Harding. They have some time to get some quick scores in, but more than likely you have to get the touchdown before the end of the quarter. Give yourself a reasonable chance. $23-point deficit for the Eagles to overcome.
They could score 3 touchdowns, 3 extra points.
Toss left side. This catch made by Taylor, and he's going to be stopped by Spurlock and company.
Nothing doing on the screen pass. 3 touchdowns, 3 extra points. Go up by 1, and then Mr. Ryan Arrington could bomb it from 25 yards out to win. There's your pipe dream finish, Spence.
Brings up a 4th down and 5 for Ezell-Harding as they are across midfield, and likely they won't punt it.
Clock is still running, Spence.
About 22 seconds remaining. Fourth and 5. What's going to be likely the final play of the 3rd quarter, but we have a false start.
Before the ball was snapped, illegal procedure, number 4, Ezell. That'll be a 5 yards penalty. Replay the down.
Well, they were taking too much time, Spence, and then an illegal procedure on Taylor. Facing another 4th and 10.
And looks like time expired.
They've got to let him play that play.
Waiting on the announcement from Dozier.
Nope, they're gonna go to 4th.
Well, Dozier's talking it over.
No, they're gonna let him run the play. They're gonna let him run the play, Spence.
No, the refs are whistling
6
it back.
seconds on the clock, please.
Pump the brakes. Pump the brakes. Y'all can have a team meeting after this untimed down.
Make it 3.
So 3 seconds on the game clock. I was telling you, James, they were motioning for Lancaster to come back.
Whatever.
Hey, man, we both get ones on each other throughout the night.
It happens.
3 seconds remain in the 3rd.
They're going to take a shot right here, Spence.
4th down. Cousins. He's got pressure. Of course, it does expire time. Right side, incomplete pass. So as time expires in the 3rd, Lancaster turns it over on downs, 41-18, heading into the final 12 of regulation. Started the fourth quarter in Smyrna at Smyrna Middle School. Lancaster with a dominant lead, likely can put the nail on the coffin on this drive as Bragg slings it across the middle, and with 3 receivers around, he doesn't get tackled. Incredible reception there by Devon Hargrove.
It's Devin, and that was 3 defenders, Spence, not receivers.
3 defenders, spins out a
Goodness.
tackle. Hargrove,
He was trying to get away.
There's a reason why he's the star senior for their team. One of many star seniors. There's just not much for the Ezell-Harding defense to really answer with on those plays.
I mean, we were talking about tempo. You keep Deuce Bragg off the field, you're okay. He gets on the field, he's going to make your life miserable, whether you're a player or a coach.
Bragg slings it left side, nobody there. Looks like a miscommunication on the route.
And we do have a flag on the far side of the field, Spence. Maybe a false start.
Illegal formation on the offense. That'll be a 5-yard penalty, replay, first down.
Now you're right on that one.
It looks like the receiver did not try to verify that he was on the line of scrimmage. It would be my guess. He did not verify with the side judge there, and he called him on it.
Brings him back 5 yards, but I guess it was a break for him anyway with the miscommunication on the route.
Oh, it is for sure. They get that down all over again.
Bragg, left side, catch made, almost dropped by Hargrove as he gets a gain to make it a 2nd and 4. I tell you, for the first time in the 2021 season for Lancaster to make its debut in primetime and on the Extreme Game of the Week, it's a good performance.
Oh, 100%. 100%. This is, I mean, and now being at 3-0, it'll be interesting to see those rankings tomorrow.
Yeah, a lot of things are going to change with the rankings over the weekend as Bragg slings it to the right side of the end zone. Diving, could not make the catch for a 3rd down coming up.
So, Spitz, you look at your top 10 in the the NHSA rankings. Of course, they're the folks that host the tournament in Florida every year.
As Bragg coordinates the offense here, he's talking about the NHSA rankings. While he's taking a stroll at those, we'll get the play here, and I'll talk to you guys about the schedule for both of these teams heading into later half of the season. As this goes to the left side, a carry there, forced out of bounds is Lane Spurlock. And that'll move the chains, to my knowledge, for a 1st down, waiting on the call from the officials. But while they discuss this, for Ezell-Harding, the schedule gets considerably more tough. At least next week, they've got a likely closer matchup at home against Franklin Classical. They host South Haven the following week, and then they're at CCS for their final divisional game of the year. As for Lancaster Christian, they travel to Grace Baptist next Saturday. Then they host Franklin Christian and host Zion Christian to close out their in-division matchups before a bye week on October 8th and their final game of the regular season against South Haven. And then Ezell-Harding travels to Sacred Heart. As this goes up the middle, several flags fly. It's ruled a touchdown for now, but several flags on the field.
Let's see what we've got.
Number 3, offense. That'll be a 10-yard penalty, replay, 4th down.
Replay of 4th down.
So what I was saying, Spence, is you look at the NHSA rankings, the top 10. Grace Baptist is number 1, they won. Evangel Christian, number 2, they won. Lancaster Christian, 3, they're in the lead. Franklin Christian.
Timeout called by Lancaster, as you saying, James.
Franklin Christian at number 4, they won. Freedom Cowboys at 5, they won. Christian Community at 6, lost. Lighthouse Homeschool at 7, won. Ezekiel Academy at number 8, they lost to Lighthouse Homeschool. Russell Christian, I don't think they played, and Providence Christian did not play either. South Haven Christian at number 11 with the win. So I think you could potentially see either Ezekiel or Christian Community. I think it'll be Ezekiel dropping out of the top 10, and then you'll have South Haven move up, and I think that'll be your top 10.
You think Christian Community drops out of the top 10?
No, and only because they lost to number 1 overall.
Probably change their rankings a little bit, but it's interesting to see this stuff. Of course, Lancaster, number 3 seed here. Ezell-Harding outside of the top 10 with the losses that they've had. Started out the season 1-2 and likely 1-3 unless they could turn something drastically around. Toss incomplete.
Ezell-Harding will get the ball back, Spence.
Get the ball back with a turnover on downs.
Big defensive stop for them. They're still only down. I say only. They're down by 3 touchdowns. 9:21 to go.
I believe they only have 2 timeouts remaining, so they have to march it down the field in order for that to happen.
Hey, they've already gotten a successful onside. Excuse me. They've already gotten an successful onside kick attempt. So, and that has to factor into this, I think.
3-possession game essentially at this point. But the Eagles will start on their own 15, as they have for several drives throughout this game. Cousins, left side, tipped up and incomplete. Potentially dangerous play. Potentially dangerous play there. Time called on the field. Ezell-Harding will think it over.
No, we have a player down.
Excuse me. We have an injury on the field. Looks like an Ezell-Harding player is down. We will step aside for an injury timeout. Josh Murdoch standing on his own feet and heading to the sideline. He'll be looked at by the training staff. Looks like it most likely could be a cramp. They'll just be looked at by the staff. Well, James, we're getting down to winding down in this contest. Who's your prediction for player of the game?
Honestly, I think you got to go Lane Spurlock.
Yeah, Spurlock has had a fantastic game. I mean, between him and Hargrove. I mean, you could say Deuce Bragg because of the passing he's had, but likely Spurlock as Paul Nix gets stopped for a gain of about a yard.
I mean, Spurlock's had several touchdowns tonight. He's made a difference on the defensive side of the ball. I think all around, he's been a dominant force.
Don't stop. You know what time it is, kid.
This clock continues to wind down with about 3rd down and 7 coming up. This offense for Ezell-Harding is trying to get something going. And flags fly.
Before the snap, false start on the offense. That'll be a 5-yard penalty. Replay, 3rd down.
Some movement there. As Ezell-Harding tries again. Cousins will air it out on the left side. Coming back to the ball. The catch is made. Brought down at the 45-yard line is Robinson.
Robinson having himself a night. In the midst of a dark time, like the way that the part of this game has gone for Ezell-Harding, I wouldn't say the majority, but part of it, he has been just a beacon of hope. Him, Melvin Cousins, Faisha, Taylor, they've got some stars coming up.
As they try to march down the field, Cousins again, depending on the passing game at this point, as this airs out again, tried to come back for the ball, and they couldn't do it there.
Oh, he's trying to get the flag, and they're not going to give it to him.
They won't get a flag for pass interference on that one. Looked like it was just good man-to-man coverage there. Second and 10. Cousins scrambles. He's got some space getting to the right side. How about he gets to the outside? Cousins headed to the house. Touchdown. And you see by the replay there, Melvin Cousins, the sophomore, gets to the outside and puts some life into Ezell-Harding's chances to make it back. Two-point conversion attempt coming up here. As you see here, scramble, and Cousins is brought down in the backfield. The two-point conversion is no good. 41-24, Ezell-Harding still down, but managed to get some life back. So even though there's only 7 minutes and 34 seconds left here, Ezell-Harding does have life. Down by 17.
If you're Ezell-Harding, you got an onside of here.
Likely their only option. And that's what they'll do. It's picked up at the 40-yard line. We have whistles blown. Possibly delay a game.
The ready for play was not blown.
That's a lucky break for Ezell-Harding. So they didn't blow the whistle for the ready to play. Ezell-Harding with a lucky break as they'll just boot this. And return attempt back by, I believe, Atkinson. And that may be the nail on the coffin. About a 70-yard kickoff return for a touchdown.
He picked his hole. The kick return team did a great job of setting it up for him. And he was just gone.
The sophomore, Zach Atkinson.
Great return by the young man.
23-point lead again.
Spence, they get this 2-point conversion, it'll be a 4-possession game.
Now you were right. When Lancaster gets their rhythm in play, like they tend to control the rest of the game. That's what's been going on here.
They're going for 2 here, Spence.
Make it a 25-point difference. Bragg, toss to the corner in the end zone. 2-point conversion is good. And a flag thrown on the backside with that tackle.
Probably unnecessary roughness.
2-point conversion is good. Yep, unnecessary roughness or late hit. Waiting on the call from Dozier.
Here's the call.
There's no flag on the play. No flag on the play.
They lifted the flag. 49 to 24 with that 2-point conversion attempt made. Lancaster going to kick it off here, trying to call things quits and wrap it up here in Smyrna. They'll just boot it deep, and another return attempt by Taylor. Ryan Taylor trying to find some space, brought down from behind, about the 26-yard line.
Sorry, Spence, I went off mic there.
Just for a little bit.
Trying to coordinate some stuff. Running shorthanded the last couple of nights, especially tonight. So big shout out to Audrey and Matt.
A big shout out to Brendan. Happy birthday to him. Celebrating in
Slacker.
Knoxville. Celebrating in Knoxville right now.
I'm just kidding. Man.
Won't be at the show tomorrow, which they'll do a flip-flop a little bit. You and I will just be talking to each other tomorrow on air.
Oh, that would be so terrible.
Oh,
Spence.
yeah.
It'd
Talking
be
to the
just
coach.
Awful.
Oh, yeah.
Can't believe we actually have to do that.
First and 10 on the 25. As the ball loosened, looks like Lancaster fell on it. How about Lane Spurlock possibly setting the game in stone?
Told you, Spence. Spurlock. Yep, Spurlock got it.
And it looks like time called on the field.
Timeout. Ezell. That's their last timeout.
Ezell-Harding out of timeouts with 7:02 left to go in the game. 7:02 left to go in the game. Lancaster got the ball back on a fumble recovery, and on the 25-yard line, they're trying to fully set the game in stone with another touchdown, but likely at this point, fate is set as the catch is made at about the 15-yard line and trying to push to the 10, but unsuccessful, gets to about 12 or 13, but moves the chains for a first down as Lancaster is in the red zone.
Well, the we got Evangel, Ezekiel, Ezell-Harding. The Ezell-Harding defense is not stopping at all. They're going to play till the whistle.
First and 10. Hand off to Spurlock as he goes up the middle, pushing through. Likely got the first down there.
Your player of the game has to be Spurlock, Spence. Has to be.
With the way he's played tonight, he's made a solid case for it. Or it could be that Bragg honors one of his linemen, you know, like Coach Ateka did when we covered their game against Ezell-Harding. Honored Bo Swanson there. Could honor a lineman, could do something else there, you know.
He could, and I wouldn't argue to him giving some love to the big boys, but in terms of, Spurlock is literally responsible for at least 4 touchdowns. You take those 4 off the board, it's a tie ball game.
And looks like you got a timeout by Lancaster.
Timeout. Lancaster. That's their second charge timeout.
Leaves with 5:33 left to go in the game. Well, Extreme Talk is coming up tomorrow at 4 p.m. Central. And we'll recap all the action from Week 5, interview a coach, and we'll preview Week 6. A lot of good matchups on the slate for next weekend. Of course, we'll announce which game we're at for the Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week. You got divisional matchups, some close matchups in Alabama. As you see, Coach Bragg here, his 4th season. He's going to get his 25th win as a head football coach in 8-man football. Tonight, only 7 losses in his career, including the postseason, in 4 years at the helm of this Lancaster offense. Or, excuse me, the Lancaster program. And we would get you a shot at Coach Dustin McGee, but of course, as we mentioned at the top, he's watching from home as we have a flag down. Likely false start.
Before the snap, false start, 5 blue. There'll be a 5-yard penalty. Replay.
Spurlock called for that one. And, you know, Coach McGee coming into tonight's contest, he was I believe 19-16. At least the team's overall record. And I guess with the, do we count this loss against McGee's coaching record, James?
I don't think you do, Spence. I don't think you do.
Maybe we could have a. We could have Coach Thompson with a 0-1, but waiting on the call just short of the goal line as Lancaster tries to punch in one more touchdown.
Ezell-Harding defense, they're trying to hold him.
Try to hold him here as the 2nd and goal is coming up. Well, it's been a long weekend. Friday night we were in southeast of Chattanooga in Ottawa, and the push to the end zone. Touchdown. Lancaster gets another
Guess
score.
who, Spence?
Spurlock.
Spurlock. He's played on the line for the last 2 years of Lancaster in 8-man football. They move him to running back this year as a senior. He's been dominant.
31-point difference now. Chance to make it 33. And again, if Lancaster had made
Spence, that's 36 second half points by Lancaster.
Okay. Lancaster had made those point after tries successfully earlier on, it'd be a 35-point game. We'd have a running clock. As Arrington tries to get and successfully gets his second PAT of the evening, 56-24. So Lancaster kicks it off here to squib kick, as this will go out of bounds. Not something you see often.
You can only ask the kicker to do so much, Spence. You can only ask the kicker to do so much. Kickers are people too.
Arrington's been a workhorse tonight. That's for certain.
Absolutely.
I believe 2 for 4 on his PATs. And the ball placed at the 40-yard line.
Nope,
Excuse
35.
me, 35, yep. Sometimes we get the penalty announcement about the kick going out of bounds, not this time. Ezell-Harding gets the ball back at the 35. Cousins is going to keep it. Jukes out 1 tackle, 2-3, and then finally brought down for a first down gain to about the 48-yard line.
The man with first contact 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage just got a first down, and we do have a man down.
I believe that is Cousins who's down, just as he had that incredible rush. That is not a sight you want to see if you're an Ezell-Harding fan. Injury timeout. Cousins went to the sideline, looked at by the training staff of Ezell-Harding, and hopefully it's just him being gassed.
Maybe he got the wind knocked out of him.
One of the two, as Ezell-Harding snap muffed and picked up by the Eagles. And, you know, for Ezell-Harding, they had a tough matchup coming in today. Of course, Liam Kendall and Luke Anderson are out, two of their stars, and two of those guys out for Lancaster. They had everybody healthy, and, of course, their head coach McGee being out. So it is a tough situation that the Eagles had, but going through up until about halfway through the third quarter, they were competing well with Lancaster. As this second down attempt to carry for about 2 or 3 yards, but for Ezell-Harding, at least for them to only lose by about 32 points, if that ends up being the final score, especially with it being close at halftime.
Well, here's the good news, Spence. This is not a divisional game.
Yep. Best news for Ezell-Harding as well.
Well, folks, you're not going to want to miss postgame.
Oh, yeah. We'll interview Coach Bragg, get his player of the game. That's coming up on the Fairlife Core Power Protein postgame show, and James and I will wrap things up here from Smyrna. Maybe James will try to do a chug contest with the player of the game.
We'll have to see.
Might try that again. Just a handoff up the middle to Taylor as he gets a gain for about 4 yards. You know, we mentioned it in the open. Lancaster's going 2-0 into this game, and they played opponents who have not had great seasons. Of course, they were at Providence, won a close one for that in Murfreesboro, and then hosted Lighthouse, who won the game there. So the question was, is Lancaster that good? And what we're seeing here, they're just as good as they have been since they moved to 8-man football.
Coach Bragg has got these boys just playing. They're playing out of their minds.
As they'll go for it on 4th down, Cousins will hand it off, and to the outside, I believe that was a first down gain for Paul Nix.
Good to see Cousins back in the game.
Actually, it might be short. You get the signal from Dozier as he looks at the chains and rule it a first down.
Spence, oh, okay, well, they will wait. I thought we were going to see the debut of, wait for it, Dizzle Bragg is the official name on the roster.
Yep.
You got his brother Deuce and Dizzle.
And I think they have sister Emily as well, who's with the Lancaster.
Sure, her name is just plain old Emily Spence.
I know I've heard it's Ems, but I'm pretty sure it's just short for Emily, or maybe Emma, something like that. But
what a run!
What a run by Cousins! Finally forced out of bounds to the 11-yard line, even with the players being down this much and knowing the game is over. Cousins still balling out.
Looks like Ezell-Harding did request. Oh no, they're going to stop the clock now. I thought they might have requested the running clock.
I don't think so, but yeah, the Bragg kids submitted very well in the Lancaster system. Again, Dizzle Bragg, a freshman wearing number 9. Pretty cool that Dizzle gets to play alongside his brother.
Well,
do that for 2 years.
Play alongside his brother and play for his dad.
It's a family affair in Smyrna as Cousins finds the space to the left side, and Cousins stopped short of the goal line.
Almost got the pylon there, Spence.
Got close to it as forced out of bounds, and that takes the clock down to about 39 seconds left in the game, so maybe one more score from the Eagles before things are officially done here at Smyrna Middle School.
Spence, just to whet everyone's appetite a little bit, in terms of Lancaster, they have never played Grace Baptist.
As the clock is signaled to run, so likely this will be the last play of the game, at least coming up. This is the last series of the game. Winds down to about 22 seconds. As Ezell-Harding trying to pop it in and the ball loose. They fall back on it, and a second down coming up, and I believe that's going to wrap it up with no more timeouts for Ezell-Harding. The clock is stopped. And Cousins will sneak it in for the touchdown. 56-30. 26-point difference with Ezell-Harding punching it in.
That'll do it, Spence.
That is going to wrap it up here in Smyrna. Lancaster Christian. Actually, Referees might have something to say about it. Yep, they're going to put more time on the clock because it was running down inadvertently. They're not done yet.
It's the difference between losing by 32 and losing by potentially 24. You like to see this out of Ezell-Harding. They're not going to lay down and pack up and drive back to Antioch without a fight. They're going to keep going literally until the clock's hit 0.
8 seconds remaining in the game. 2-point conversion attempt to make it 56-32. Cousins, toss, 2-point conversion is good. Great reception by Robinson, who's had a night himself. And I believe it's still at 8 seconds on the game clock. 2-point conversion is good.
4 seconds on the game
Or it
clock.
was 8, but you're not supposed to run it during
It should have been 8.
You know, 8 seconds, 4 seconds left with the score right now.
Oh, we got 8 seconds. Matter of fact, let's just redo the fourth quarter.
Lancaster still leads.
Redo the whole fourth quarter.
So make that 32-56. Well, hopefully we'll talk with Spurlock after the game, get the shirt on him, maybe have a chugging contest with James, and we'll wrap things up here from Smyrna Middle School. And on the air for about 3 hours now. With the post game, it'll probably be about 3 hours and 15 minutes.
It'll be close to being one of the longer broadcasts we've had this year, Spence. A lot of 2-hour games. We did not have one tonight, though. Had a good one on our hands.
Good one through the majority of the contest. And Lancaster just took a hold as onside kick attempt here from the Eagles. It's fallen on. Take down 1 second, and victory formation coming up for the Knights. Well, Coach Bragg is going to get his 25th overall win as a head coach tonight, and at least as a head coach in 8-man football. Get to talk with him and hear his thoughts for the first time this season. Bragg, instead of being under center, he's just in the backfield, and that is going to do it from Smyrna. Bragg gets his 25th win as a head coach, and the Lancaster Christian Academy Knights start their season 3-0, heading to Chattanooga. And thank you so much for watching the Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week. We will be back in a few moments for the Fairlife Core Power Protein post-game show.
with Coach Thompson. Oh, it's going right now. Third time's a charm.
This is TV. You'll get used to this by college. You're going to have to go this 2 or 3 times.
You absolutely will. Welcome, everybody, to the Fairlife Core Power Protein postgame show. Unfortunately, Coach Jason Bragg refused to come on the postgame show, so we're here with the interim head coach, Chad Thompson. Of course, Coach, not the results you wanted, but especially for you guys, you know this isn't a divisional matchup, so it doesn't matter on those. But how proud are you of the fight that your players had tonight against a tough Lancaster team?
I'll tell you what, we couldn't be more proud. Hats off to Lancaster. They're absolutely a great team. You know, Coach McGee, this is why we schedule these matches. You know, we don't have to play them, but we want to. I told the guys over there in the huddle, you know, playing great teams make you better. And even though it doesn't affect us in the north, we definitely want to come down and play Lancaster. And, you know, like I said, great team, hats off to them. I'm proud of the way our guys responded and kept fighting through the third and fourth.
And especially you knew that this morning you knew there was the potential of Coach McGee not being able to coach then. You got the call this morning to adjust and everything. The difficulty of that, to be without your head coach and offensive coordinator at the helm, had its challenges. But how proud are you of the way your coaching staff and your players came together to try and get this win for Coach McGee?
I couldn't be prouder. Everybody, that's one of the great things about Coach McGee's program. He sets it up. We tell the kids next man in all the time. And as coaches, we gotta walk that too and be ready for it. He's an organized guy and has everything planned out to the last, you know, dotting the I's and crossing the T's. So it was different. It was emotionally different, but you know, from a game process, our guys did great. They followed what we would do, and the result wasn't what we liked, but they kept fighting.
Well, Coach, this is about the second time we got you guys on for the Fairlife Core Power Protein Player of the Game, and you being the interim head coach, you have the honor to introduce your player of the game and how proud you are of his performance.
This is our quarterback, Melvin. I couldn't be happier with him. He fought to the end. He was even asking to come in on defense. I mean, he was wanting to help the team win any way he could, and so leading us, keeping us in the fight for 4 quarters. We're happy to nominate him.
All right, well, Coach, congratulations. Best of luck to you guys against Classical next week. And Melvin Cousins, the Fairlife Core Power Protein Extreme Player of the Game, doesn't have the shoulder pads on to put the shirt over, but how proud are you of the fight that your team had against Lancaster all the way through up until the third quarter?
We fought. We had to fight. Even when we was down, we was fighting. I had to get the guys to rally. And we didn't turn out how I wanted to turn it out. But my guys had heart. We kept fighting to the end. And we go get better next week.
And next week you've got a matchup against Franklin Classical, one of your now divisional rivals that you've played several times in the past. What are you looking forward to most in that matchup at home?
I just want to win. I just want to win, Coach. And if we win, it's a better seed in the playoffs. That's all I care about.
Well, you're not surrounded by your players this time, but we still got protein shake samples for you for your performance. You got one who's going to cheer for you. So banana, strawberry, banana, chocolate, and vanilla. Choose one of those flavors for us. He was going to hand it to you, but he's going with the signature chocolate there. I mean, do you want him to chug this one? No, all right, just go ahead and take a sip. Tell us how it tastes.
Pretty good.
All right, perfect. Congratulations, Melvin Cousins. You're a Fairlife Core Power Protein Extreme Player of the Game. Congratulations to you. And all those product samples are for you and the rest of your players as well. All right, James. This wraps things up. Not usually the coach we end up talking to at the end of the game, but you know what? Ezell-Harding still put up a really good performance in this contest.
Listen, this is the coach that got told this morning, hey, your head coach will not be here. He will not be on the sidelines. And he stepped up. He led his team. He had them at 20-12 at halftime. They were down 12-0. They came back. You know, they came out of halftime. They scored. They had momentum, and Lancaster was just able to pull away. This was the coach that absolutely got his team ready to go. The outcome could have been so much worse for them, so much worse. And yet they never stopped fighting up until literally the clock hit 0. They were trying to score a touchdown and trying to make it happen. So major props, hats off to the whole Ezell-Harding crew. Just a phenomenal fight from them.
For Lancaster Christian, they start out 3-0 as they head to Grace Baptist next Saturday.
That's a big game.
That is a big game, especially. But Extreme Talk tomorrow, 4 p.m. Central. You and I are going to be talking alone on air. Maybe we'll get
just
a coach
like
in
just
there.
like old
just
times.
like the old times, like the full season of 2019. Any previews for what you're going to talk about on Sunday with this weekend's action?
Man, I can't spoil it, but
Brendan talks a little bit about stuff.
I got a couple pet peeves I'm going to address.
maybe just a few, but you know, It's been a lot of travel for us. It's been a decent weekend, but they cleared the scoreboard. But a 56, probably getting the score wrong. 56 to 32 final score.
Actually, it was 54. I think it's 54.
Usually I have the scoreboard to reference. Whatever it is, 50-something to 20-something. Lancaster.
I'm gonna go home and die.
Lancaster Christian Academy gets it done. They start out 3-0 as they travel to Grace Baptist next week. Roger Green, yes, you got one more thing.
Because it happened this morning, I'm gonna do it. I know it's not the show when we do shout-outs on the show. But shout out to the Temple Baptist Upwards Flag Football Dolphins, 2-0, baby.
Is that your son's team?
Yeah.
Okay. I was trying to understand why, but congratulations to your son on starting out undefeated. But for Roger Green upstairs, for Matthew Cruz on the other side of the camera, for Brendan and Jerry Jr. from afar, as well as James Shannon, I'm Spencer Topset saying so long from Smyrna. Lancaster gets it done.